if you need to turn these around, you know that you can lift them, pull them out, turn them. The biggest thing is to make sure these are all equidistant from each other. Is that a math term? Equidistance?
Yeah.
Sounds right, right? So making sure that they're all in the same space so that one of them isn't way in, the other two are far out. The easiest way to tell if they're off or not is to bring them a little bit closer. And then once they're closer here, you can more visually see which one needs to be moved. You just lift the side, move it back, make sure they're all even. Then making sure you have even posts, and then adding on your top piece here. Questions on that? That's really, really important. Sorry, I had this all set up for you guys, and now I do not. Okay, so I'm gonna widen this so I can fit my bowl. Just like so. Bring this in. That does not work. This bowl is very wide, so I was hoping that would be fine. I think I just need to turn them around. Sorry, bear with me. Okay, and then once I get my, it's a little risky, but I should be okay. Once you get your pieces in place, making sure, just double checking that your bowl seems pretty on center, just by putting your finger, like we talked about the first time I talked about trimming, making sure that it touches your finger all the way around. That way you know it's not too wobbly and your posts are even. So to make a foot, I'm just gonna start by trimming the outside. A good indicator if your piece is ready to trim is you'll get these nice ribbons. You can see right here, these nice ribbons that just kind of come off, right off of your piece. That means that it is a good dryness. If it's getting really clogged up, that might mean it's too wet. Or if it was crusty like you saw and it's coming off in like little tiny bits, like you saw with my other piece, that means it's a little bit too dry. So I'm just gonna start off by removing excess clay from my sides before I start my foot. So just normal trimming like we've been doing all semester. And I just know I had a little bit of thickness on the bottom that I could spare, so I'm getting rid of that. Then once I'm ready to start my foot, I like to start with the outside of my foot. So I'm gonna come into the side here, and I'm just gonna start to make a little ledge for where I want the outside of my foot to be. So I'm just holding this vertically, and I'm just coming in from the side, and then I'm gonna trim off some of this extra right here because I want it to be a little bit more rounded. Then once you've got the outside established, you need to make that inside ring. And I like to use a smaller tool for that. I prefer the one that's this size, that's the rectangle shape, so that I have a nice corner that I can go into my bottom with. And I'm just going to hold it and make a little circle about the thickness that I want my foot to be. You can make them thicker or thinner, it just kind of depends on personal preference. But that's probably a good average thickness there. So I'm just gonna hold this up so that you guys can see. I've just got a circle started at the bottom. And now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start in the middle, and I'm just gonna start to trim that inside, leaving this ring around for the foot. Questions so far on any of that? Does it seem pretty straightforward? So we're just taking that extra step to create a nice foot on the bottom. So I just like to start in the middle, and then I slowly work out to where I created that first line. And if you've taken a look at the bowl rubric, you know that just like with our mug rubric, the handle was a part of it. For the bowl rubric, your foot is a part of it. So we have been graded on trimming in the past, just removing extra clay. But now part of your grade is going to be this foot that you're gonna create with the ring. So I would just take time and I would just slowly continue to dig that in until I feel like I'm maybe getting a little bit too thin. A good way to check if you're getting too thin is to stop and just kind of push right here, because obviously if I get too thin on the bottom, it'll go through. And if I start to feel it flex at all, that means I know I'm getting too thin. If it's pretty sturdy, that means I can keep going. So be careful with that, make sure you check. Questions? At all? Or anything? Okay, so once you are ready to trim your bowl, make sure you add some sort of foot to it. Yours can look different. It just has to have this inside ring and be a foot. Questions at all? Okay. It is a B day today. Go ahead and get started.